often I see founders, because that's my world, I see them uh, join a community that doesn't feel 100% right, but they feel like they should want it. They should, and it becomes a lot of prestige. And so they feel like this, I should be happy here. And
Mhm.
that can apply to for people that work in companies that, it looks great on their resume. They were so excited about the role. They end up there and it feels okay, but not amazing. It doesn't light them up, but it's good enough. I would say for those people, keep pushing yourself to find that amazing because when you do, it lights you up and you're animated and you're talking about it at 100 times speed because it's just the thing you found that is so amazing. And so,
We've been known to tolerate just good enough because maybe it feels safe, maybe there's other reasons, but that's exactly how we can hit a ceiling in our leadership. During this conversation, Megan shows us that when we stop settling and find our community, progress just starts compounding in ways that we never planned on. Maybe it's time to trade prestige for the kind of amazing that actually fuels you.
This is Leadership Sound Bites. Real leaders, real moments, real growth.
Welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with my special guest, Megan Kane. Megan is Executive Director, and I had to ask her what I was saying, Rellia Health, an incubator for startups. And I freaking love the whole thing. And then how you got into that space and supporting. Meredith Mangold connected us. And thank you, Meredith, because I love meeting other humans that are doing really cool things. And Megan is one of those humans. So, I think that's it. You can explain to people what the rest of it is because I'm curious. I would love for you to share more about what you're doing. You have a quote theme, whatever it is, to start us off with, which I love.
yeah, thanks, Michelle. I'm so happy to be here chatting with you. The quote I think of, it's really more of a philosophy and something I really live my life by, and I think I connect with other people when they think this way as well. And that's about just being 1% better every single day. I think if you try to go a little bit, more extensive than that, you can get a bit intense with your life. But just that 1% is just a really practical goal. And I think that compounding improvement can
Mhm.
move mountains. And I've seen what an incredible effect it can have. And like you said, I work with startups, so
Yeah.
I see that all the time, how those little tiny 1% changes as a startup is being built can change an entire industry. So I just think it's
Yeah.
a cool thing to apply.
You know what came to mind for me when you were talking is this idea that my brain went to as you're compounding, right? You get better and better and better. And then all of a sudden, 1% of being up here is
Mm,
different than 1% of where you start, right? If it's this way or this way, however you're measuring. It's just
so
like compounding interest. And the thing is, to your point, is that if we were to do anything greater than a 1%, and even 1% can be daunting for some people, it may not feel achievable or like we can even take the first step. So, for
mm,
instance, like if I have, I'm just going to make stuff up right now. If I have 20 things that I need to work on and fix, and someone said, here's the stuff, Michelle, here's all 20 that you have, I would go, okay, tag me out. Tag me out. But if I have someone come and say, "Hey, can you start working on this thing? What's one action step you can take toward that?" All of a sudden it's like it's doable and manageable. And then eventually you can start getting some momentum. So what are you seeing in the startup space? And it would be cool to hear how you got there because that's pretty niche. It's like
yeah.
it's not something you hear every day. Oh yeah, I'm doing this and that. Yeah.
I know it's a niche within a niche, and I've always had the kind of job that at parties is really challenging because when someone you don't know goes, "What do you do?" And you go, "Well, how much time do you have?"
Yeah,
Because it's
really. How do I
complicated.
describe this? What's my elevator pitch if we're going 25 floors, right? It's like,
Exactly, exactly. So, long story is that I have always worked in health tech. So, always worked with medical devices of all different kinds. And I work in the regulatory affairs and quality management side of the business. So, I essentially help take the scientific or technical idea and help it to get clearance from FDA or Health Canada or any other regulator in the
yeah.
region that they're trying to sell their product. So, I take that idea and help it to be able to actually go to market. And so in that job, you work a lot alongside commercial experts and marketing experts and financial experts as a team to be able to bring that product to market. So I saw that process over and over throughout my career. And then I got to a point where I thought, hey, it'd be fun to, work with some startups and give some advice wherever I can and help however I can. And I just fell in love with that process. Just, I love the energy of being around startups. I love seeing how one little nugget of advice can totally change the trajectory of what they're working on. I find that so rewarding. So yeah, I was just hooked as soon as I started doing it. And that's when I
That's,
made the pivot into doing that full time.
yeah, I love it. And when you were talking, my brain went to how, so let me give some context to it. I was listening to All In podcast. Dr. Oz was on it. They were in Davos, and I don't know if you had a chance. So Dr. Oz is on the medical. I think that's who was talking about. Maybe it was somebody else, but it was talking about the FDA and what's going on. I think Oz was talking more on the medical thing. Anyway, there was a lot of information that came out. And so what stood out for me, because clearly I'm not the space that you're in, but the changes that are happening on the government side, I'll say the US because I don't know what's happening in Canada, are so they're pretty extreme on opening the gateways that have been closed for so long. So how do you stay current on what's happening? Because all of a sudden the advice that you gave maybe 3 months ago is no longer relevant.
Yep. Yeah. And that's part of why my whole career exists, is because it is a
Yeah.
full-time job to stay on top of all of the changes that are happening, to be an expert in the different types of technologies. And especially if you're looking at different countries, it's a completely different set of rules
Yeah.
in every different country. And it's actually one thing I've become pretty passionate about later in my career is I saw how different the process looks for medical devices or pharmaceuticals to be able to be made available in different countries. It made
Hmm.
me realize just how inequitable healthcare is across borders. I mean, you know that as a layperson, right? You can
Yeah.
see that, but to actually understand the process of how much harder it is for a device to even be sold at all in a different country was
Yeah.
kind of shocking. And it made me realize like why some of that inequality exists. And it just, yeah, it stinks, right? It
Yeah.
makes you angry,
Well,
makes you
and
want to
that's
do
what I
something.
heard. Yeah, that things are going to take like years
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get. And it's like, okay, you got this technology, and maybe it's been proven. And I know they're working on fast tracking different things, and not making the requirement crazy for different types of whatever drugs, for example, and medical device, all that.
Mhm.
So it's exciting and encouraging, especially in the space that we're in now with artificial intelligence, AI, that can accelerate, if you will, the knowledge ability development that we have because you've got a different thought partner in the ring than what you had before.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's one of the positive sides of this career. Yes, that process is really long to be able to get those new ideas, out into actually in practice. But it means that I get to see kind of behind the scenes of what's coming in the next few years. So I love chatting with friends who are not in my field because I can say, oh, I'm working on this really cool, device where you could test at home for this disease that you never are able to do today, but it's coming, it's almost there, just a few more years. It's so
Just wait,
fun.
just hang out.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
is
it gives a
cool when you can see. It's like you've got your own little crystal ball.
yeah, sort of. Or just a peek behind the curtain, I guess. It's really nice.
Yeah. Um, what it's interesting when we're talking because I wonder, and we all arrive at where we are today by taking different paths, right? And so for me, it's like with my background, I just start off and tell people it's a mixed bag of tricks. I mean, there's so much in there and how I navigated to get to where I'm at. And it wasn't an intentional thing until it was, and at some point I went, okay, yeah, I actually do want to go that way. Otherwise, it was just an open door. How did you get to where you're at today? I mean, you mentioned that you were around regulators doing all this stuff, but it's like, and what if, just as an observation, what a freaking cool resource for startups who have expertise in the thing that they're building, their medical device, but then to look up from building this thing going, oh my God, there's Mount Everest ahead of us. How do we even get there? I know that
Yeah.
was several questions, Megan.
No, no, I love it. I get how your brain works. No, I am right there with you, and I wonder how incredibly common it is for people sort of mid to late career stage to look back and go, it was all just an open door, and then I
Yeah.
took the culmination of those open doors and made myself an expert in whatever I landed in. Because a lot of times you don't. anticipate being where you end up. I certainly didn't anticipate to be
Mm.
in regulatory or in startups. I mean, the transition into this startup ecosystem is really recent, really only in the last, year or so, a little over a year. So
Wow.
it was not part of my career plan. And I'm a planner. I'm a like very organized, very type A. I always tried to plan my career, but it never goes the way you imagine. It always, you surprise yourself. So I don't know that there is like a, I don't think it's actually the right call to try and plan it out too much
Yeah.
and say you know where you're going, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think if you, to your point, if I were to plan every aspect, how much stuff if I'm not exposing myself to,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly right.
I have a word. I don't do resolutions. I have words for the year.
Like
And so
that.
my word last year was playful, which was really hard for me, by the way. It was really hard. Some people go, "Oh, Michelle, that's so easy." No, no, it might be easy for you, but it was not easy for me. And this word's curiosity,
Hmm.
which to me is the word in support of all the stuff that we're talking about. It's like this door opens and you don't automatically go, "No, not on my path," right? This is the thing I'm doing. But it's like, I wonder what's happening over there. I mean,
Yeah,
that looks kind of cool.
what a cool serendipitous moment because my husband and I, we have our family values, we call them, and each month we pick one of the values as like the one we're really focusing on that month.
Oh,
And this month ours is curiosity. So how cool is
oh,
it
I
that
love
we met
that.
on the month that that is my value too? So cool.
How's it playing out for you?
Oh,
What is,
I like this one. I think especially when the world feels like it's a little bit on fire and that can feel a little bit overwhelming and some people just want to throw their hands up and say, why bother? It's so difficult or just shut people out.
Mhm.
Curiosity reminds me of just trying to get to know people and understand their stories and their perspectives and just have that again, that 1% little bit more kindness I might be able to glean from that.
Yeah. There is a um openness to curiosity because curiosity doesn't have room for judgment.
Mm,
And to your point with all the stuff that's going on, because things are in your face. And if you allow them in your world, they're more than just in your face.
mm,
So I think curiosity is that thing that we can wonder, like if someone's doing something that you're going, what? We can get curious. For me, it's about, I wonder what would cause someone to do or say that, right? What else is happening? Instead of just taking the surface level thing that you see, another way it's played out for me is there's a lot of um, things that people are sharing on social media that aren't grounded in truth.
mm,
And they're very triggering for people, right? And so my curiosity plays out when I see it. And I encourage others to do it too. If there's a reaction that you have to something that you're reading or seeing, go to your favorite large language model, put in what this thing is that you're feeling a reaction to, and do a fact check.
mm.
Tell me more about this. Where's the truth in this? What else is going on? What's the story behind the story? And if it comes back with it's factual, then step in and go, okay, fine. What can I control in this world, in this space, right? But if it's not, you can immediately let it go. I mean,
Mm.
immediately. So, and I think that for me has helped to your whole point is what are we contributing to what's going on? How are we reacting to it? Because there is that feeling that some people who don't have the best intent for everyone is magnifying it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, not just to get curious about their perspective, but also get curious about your own. Why is this so
Hmm.
triggering for me? What's
Hmm.
coming up for me? That's a really cool way to look at it from both sides.
Yeah. So I want to go back to this whole startup incubator thing because I've always been curious about it. I have someone else, Suresh, who has Hatchworks. He
Mm.
started up in, I think they're in Sri Lanka. And so I met him through another community. I've had him on the podcast. Um, what is incubator? How do you even, I mean, do you Google incubator and it just stuff shows up? I mean, what is it? How do people get connected with it? Because it's like, or do you just naturally know that, oh, yeah, like breathing?
No, no, certainly not. And it's funny you say that because I did at the very beginning of this journey actually Google what is the difference between an incubator and an accelerator because they sounded like the same things. I didn't
Okay.
know. So yeah,
Okay.
it isn't something people just inherently know.
Okay.
Um, I think what happens is startups usually start from an idea. You know, somebody sees a gap that they can fix or they have a skill set they know they can offer to the world. And then they think this is a wonderful idea. It doesn't exist. That's crazy. It should exist. I could do it.
It has to.
Like,
It has
it
to
has
exist.
to. And they start down this road and they're so motivated and excited. And then inevitably they hit some sort of hurdle, often which is who's paying me to have this idea and
Money.
work
I was
towards
going to say money.
it?
Money is the
Yeah.
hurdle. Yeah.
How do we
What's the
actually make
business
this
model? How do we
reality?
monetize this? Who's going to pay the capital to even like make this idea come to life?
Yeah, and especially in healthcare, like we talked about already, this process can be many, many years in the making. So how do I, as a founder, alone handle all of that for many, many years by myself? It's just not feasible. So what the incubator serves as is the rest of your team that you can lean on during that process. So while
Mm,
you're building your company up from nothing, here's a group of people who've already said, we're willing to help. We're experts in our own domain, and we're willing
mm.
to just give you whatever nuggets of knowledge we have to help get you there. So it really is at its core just a community of people.
And it feels like a community of mentors when you were talking. It's like, I've been there, done that, and I'm going to pay it forward in this way.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So we have a phenomenal group of mentors of all different kinds of specialties and backgrounds and
Yeah.
experiences that are volunteering their time just to be able to pay it forward and do the right thing and help see healthcare improve. So it's a really altruistic, a really beautiful
I
group of
love
people.
that.
Mhm.
So how do people get involved if they have an interest?
We have an application on our website, so at
Okay.
reliahealth.com. And really, the
Okay.
application is just to help us make sure that you are actually, in fact, a startup and you're not trying to take advantage of these free resources, that
Yeah.
you are actually, building something. And then we'll collect some information on that founder through that process as well, so that we can match them with the exact right type of advisor or mentor based on their specific gaps as a startup.
Right.
Usually, the startup team is 1 to 5 people. And they have a pretty well-rounded skill set amongst them, but nobody has everything. So you need to pull in some other people to help you.
Yeah. So how about people that want to be part of the mentorship team?
Yeah, that's also, you can apply through the website, same thing. And that's a really easy process. We just try to get
Yeah.
to know you. For us, it's really key and important that all of our mentors and advisors are genuinely good people. It's sort of our
Mhm.
criteria, like not a
Yeah.
jerk. So
Yeah.
we care, of course, that you have some experience and success in your field, but as long as you are interested in helping and
Mhm.
moving these companies forward, and there's no ego wrapped up in it,
Yeah.
and there's probably something that you can offer. So there's lots of ways to get involved with just a little bit of time for some of our
Yeah.
mentors who are very busy. And there's ways to be more involved if it's something you're really passionate about too.
I love that. What's been a success highlight for you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, every single month since we launched, we've introduced a new program or event or type of service that we can bring to support our founders.
Yeah.
So each one of those comes with so many highs because I mean, we're a startup ourselves. It's still so new
Yeah.
for us. But every time one rolls out and I see it make an impact for someone, it's like my children. Like, oh, I love seeing it. But if I had to narrow it down to one, I'd say we've been able to bring some funding support, which I know is always the big core
Wow.
need that every startup is looking for. So to be able to
Yeah.
bring some actual investment and from really high quality, incredible investors who want to do right by those startup founders, which
Yeah.
isn't always the case. So to pair incredible investors with incredible founders and actually see a relationship develop from that has been so rewarding.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And so are you doing stuff in other spaces too? Because you mentioned that you had other things going on.
I do also,
I love
yeah.
this whole startup space that you're in, incubator, um, accelerator, I would assume. It's like when you've gotten through the incubator stage, how do we fast track you to get to where you want to go? It's like let's put the rocket together Let's get it over on the launch pad and let's now get some fuel and juice and off you go.
Exactly. So you didn't even need to Google it. You got it right
Oh my God. Yeah,
away.
from the names, right? And you helped me with the incubator because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. And I do some regulatory and quality consulting as well because that is
Okay.
my core background of what my whole career has been. So I do
Yeah.
still help companies with that when they need more concentrated support. Of course, if they just need, a question here and there, happy to jump on with the
Yeah.
startups community. But sometimes regulatory is a full-blown project. So that's when I'll
Yeah.
jump in with their
No
consultant.
kidding. What's next for you?
Oh gosh. I mean, I'm so lit up by this
I
startup
can
world. As you
tell.
can
I love
tell just
it.
from
I love it.
title, I get so animated talking about it. I get so excited, but I'm just I'm loving every second of it. And so what's next for me is just more and more and more, which is the exact opposite advice you give to startup founders when they're rolling out something
No, you
new.
tell back off. Let's just pick this one thing. What's 1% better look like? So for
That's
you,
right.
it's like we're taking the hill.
Yeah, but you're right. The 1% better outlook would be more along the lines of kind of continuing the plan we have for 2026, which is each month we're launching something new and we have the year plotted out of all of the new things we're launching.
That's a big deal, by the way. If anybody else got, I mean, it's like that's a big deal
Thanks.
because it's not like you're taking something old away.
Yeah, yeah. We're trying to do more for our founders as much as we can. That's what's getting us so excited. But I think maybe other startup founders can relate to this. When you're rolling things out at the beginning, it doesn't feel like enough because you have such big ideas of what you want to do
Yeah.
that just doing one at a time.
You see the yeah, the oasis in the end. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm trying to limit myself to one a month as best I can, but I'm very excited for all of the things we have coming out month over month.
So I wonder, it's like seriously, I mean, you're like, oh, you can go to the website, you can do whatever. If I think about just business in general, there has to be a way, Megan, that you're promoting what you're doing so that people actually know that you're a resource that they can go to. What thoughts do you have? I mean, because I think about people going in, we talk about marketing all the time, promoting, what's the thing that works? What's it been for you? I mean, because this is a very, I mean, it's a very niche thing. It's so funny because I was watching a equivalent of a Hallmark movie because they always end up happy. And on this particular one, the gal needed someone to portray her fiance. So she went on the Google search, basically rent a groom. Boom, this thing pops up. Do people do that? Like incubator for medical device company. I mean, is that how people find
Presumably,
you?
yeah, probably. I mean, we're still such a small player because we're still so new that I doubt we would come up in those early Google searches. But right now, we've just been growing through word of mouth. It's all been really organic, just
Wow.
people recommending us to people they know, people we know from our own networks. So we haven't done a lot of outbound. And if, shameless plug, if any of your listeners are
Yeah.
marketing
Startup.
experts, or well, marketing experts actually for getting our name out
Oh,
there more
yeah.
because that's not necessarily my skill set or my biggest strength. I'm
Yeah.
much more of an introvert. I'm really excited about what we're building for
Yeah.
Relia. I don't often remember to talk about it externally because I'm so focused on.
Until people say, "Hey, come on the podcast, have a conversation," and then I'm like, I feel more like it's a conversation, but I'm also feel like I'm interviewing you in a way because I'm so freaking curious about what you do. I mean, it's like you've got this thing in the middle of whatever. It's like, how do people even know you're there?
Well,
You
yeah, I
know,
mean,
to be able to connect. It's amazing.
yeah, I was saying if any of your listeners are interested in helping us grow in that way, it's definitely something
Yeah.
we're looking into this
Yeah.
year. But
Well,
right now,
and
it's just been so natural that we haven't had to very much. But I would
I
love
love
to.
it. So how many startups are you working with right now?
We have about 96 startups in the greater community. So we have
Yeah,
some that are more focused, like going through programs and in part of our communication platform. And then we have some that are with us sort of tangentially. So 96 total.
that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, we're
I mean,
happy about
that's
it.
huge. I mean, for something that just started, we said a year and a half ago.
Not even, we launched in the summer of last year, last June, I believe.
Oh my gosh. No advertising,
Great.
not sure, organically growing. So you've got to be connected to some kind of ecosystem or community that the people that are startups or that know startups that work with startups are going funnel over here.
Do you know, that's what I love the most about the startup world,
Yeah,
especially, is that the people in it know how valuable a connection is and an
yeah,
introduction is.
yeah.
So, since being a part of this startup ecosystem, I have been able to meet so many more, like exponentially more people than I ever did in my career because it's just a different world. Like, even how we met, I met Meredith because of the startup ecosystem, and she was introduced to me by someone wonderful. And so, you just keep passing
Isn't
it
that
forward
funny?
and introducing people. And so you end up meeting just the most incredible people and they sing your praises to someone else and it just grows naturally that way.
Well, and I think that what you're talking about, and to your point, what the startup community does so well is they're supportive of one another, right?
Mm,
It's not like it's this dog eat dog competition, and I'm going to kick you out of the way so that I can go get mine. But it's like, I know what it's like to go without the support, and I also know what it's like to have the support. And so I can imagine you haven't been around long enough yet, but you're going to have people that could be on your advisory or your mentorship that were a startup at one time and got that support and that help, and they know how valuable it is. That being said, that whole idea of we come together in community, we help each other. And it's this mindset of abundance versus scarcity that that's the space that I encourage all of us to step into, regardless of what lane you're in, industry you're in, or anything else. Because if we're all there to help lift each other up, to go, hey, how can I help you? What can I do for you? How can I promote you? Because promoting someone else doesn't take away from me, but it just kind of brings everybody else up. And it's just a better space to be in.
100%. And that was a really big reason why the group of us that started to build Relia created it on its own as opposed to working with an existing community is because we felt really strongly about creating the kind of community that we wanted to exist. We
Yeah.
wanted some place that was really inclusive and supported and helped this next generation of CEOs learn how to be the best possible CEO they could be in all aspects, not just creating the best possible technology. So that was so important to us. And, with that abundance mindset that you mentioned, we're not the only incubator that exists, but we hope that we are the right community for the right types of founders, that somebody will come across us and feel like, yes, these are my people. They feel the same way as I do. They get it and just feel so at home. And we want to create that space for them.
Yeah. And in the medical device space, it's about giving back and improving the quality of life
Mhm.
um, for humans that need whatever that is, whether it's staying connected to where seniors don't have to figure out how to get a ride in to their doctor to be able to have XYZ done, right? Because there are medical devices that can track everything. And what I look forward to is everything's in one device, not I've got my Aura ring and then I've got this and then I've got this thing plugged in. It's like the technology where I'm sure it exists already. It's just not mainstream yet.
It's
So
coming. It's coming. Just hold
yeah,
on.
you're
It's
like,
on its
yes, 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 I know about it. It's
way.
gonna be here. It's exciting. As someone in that space, do you also have the opportunity to invest? I know there's angel investors with other stuff. Do you also, or is that a conflict at some point?
That is an opportunity for some folks. I personally like to keep myself really independent. I will join an advisory board role for a company that I
Yeah,
really believe in, but that is really just to be able to help watch them succeed. It's not really about
yeah,
building up my portfolio.
yeah.
For me, the reward is actually in watching them succeed. And I think if I were to invest, it would be difficult to stay totally, agnostic and
Neutral and
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So I try not to, but certainly there are opportunities for people who are angels or
yeah,
interested in being an angel, definitely.
yeah. I love it. Um, I appreciate this conversation. It's so funny. I didn't realize how many questions I had.
That's great. It's
Maybe
a fun
it's
world.
because I love with curiosity and it's like it's a whole world that I hear about and it's not anything that I go, tell me more about XYZ. And I think part of it is because maybe I don't want to bother somebody. But it's and not but. I appreciate the space that you've stepped into, and the support you're doing, because it's in a really important space. And you have people that are so techy that navigating the human skills part of it and the regulation part of it and all that other space could literally discourage people from bringing something forward that is life-changing.
100%. And I see that far too often. It's actually quite a frustrating side of the business, is
Mhm.
that especially somebody in the software space where that moves very quickly. And if
Yeah.
you're not in medical device, you could release software in the matter of weeks or months. And
Oh,
in
wow.
healthcare, that's not the case. And so it's very discouraging for somebody with the skill set of software to want to work in healthcare because the reward isn't for many more years. You could have churned out 6 different companies by that
Yeah.
point if you went a different
Yeah.
route. So the founders in this space, I find, are especially resilient and especially passionate about why they've chosen this path because it's
Mhm.
not the most immediately rewarding. But I think for them, the mission is more important about why they're doing what they do. And so
Mhm.
I get to work with founders who are just, they really deeply care about what they're
Yeah.
building and who they're impacting, which you maybe wouldn't see in different sectors.
Yeah. And I imagine as the stuff is running through my head, there's some personal story experience they've had that
Usually.
this is the thing they're going to fix. Uh,
Mhm.
because they've identified what in healthcare we refer to as a never event, right? As far as things like that. You don't ever want a baby abduction. You don't ever want, all those things, the errors, the medical errors, all the stuff. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do everything to my last breath to make sure this doesn't ever happen again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is unfortunate that so many of them have had to go through
Hmm.
difficult times in order to
Yeah.
have that story, but
Yeah,
it's great to see that they've turned it into something positive.
exactly. I love it. Um, Thank you again.
You.
In the wrap up of this and all the stuff that we've talked about, what's one or two things you want to leave people with?
Oh, great question. I think one thing is in general to find your community. I know that's maybe a bit cliche, whether that's in the startup world or the healthcare world or not, but just keep searching until you find the right people to be around. And I may be more speaking to people who are younger or newer in their careers, but I think often I see founders, because that's my world, I see them uh, join a community that doesn't feel 100% right, but they feel like they should want it. They should, and it becomes a lot of prestige. And so they feel like this, I should be happy here. And
Hmm.
that can apply to for people that work in companies that, it looks great on their resume. They were so excited about the role. They end up there and it feels okay, but not amazing. It doesn't light them up, but it's good enough. I would say for those people, keep pushing yourself to find that amazing because when you do, it lights you up and you're animated and you're talking about it at 100 times speed because it's just the thing you found that is so amazing. And I urge people to keep going until they find that.
I love that. And I think the underlying thing is the belief and the knowing that amazing is there out
Yeah,
there.
like that.
And so the bottom line is don't settle.
Mm.
Don't settle, like ever.
Yeah.
So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next
You.
time. Yeah, this is Leadership Soundbites with Michelle and Megan. Thank you in advance for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It means a lot. And I will put contact information from Megan and the website and all that stuff. So if you want to invest, if you're a founder yourself, you know a founder, you might think you know a founder, or you want to be a mentor, people can reach out. So thank you again. Have an awesome freaking day. And until next time, thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was lovely.